Okay, it is recording. If you would like to watch it on the screen instead of in life, I'm going to put my digidium lenses on because this is for our people who are absent, and also that you can review later if you need to see what's going wrong, because that's what's going to happen. Is you're going to do all this, you're going to learn it, you're going to get some good habits, and then you're going to forget a little bit. Sorry, I'm struggling. I need a better way to do this. I'll have to edit that out, or they can just deal like you guys are dealing. Cute.
Looking at the bead.
Cute schmoot. Y'all, I'm really struggling. There. Ah! No, I had it, and then it went no. Getting there, y'all. Okay, that is in place, and I'm still recording, and that's really funny. If y'all want to see on the TV, you'll have to turn the TV on to HDMI 1. I'm sorry I didn't do it, but the remote is around here somewhere. Here we go. Light my match. Open my propane gently, a little bit. Put my match out. Turn propane up so I don't lose my flame. Open up my oxygen, and then get the size flame I want, which for this job will be about like this. That's actually a little high. That's also a little high. There we go. I'm happy. My bead release is wet. See, I do actually want the TV on so I can tell if I'm in the frame and I'm doing it well. If one of you could find that remote.
I'll find it.
And then it's just power and HDMI 1. Thank you so much. So my bead release is wet. I just dipped this and I need to dry it. If I plunge it into the flame and cook it, it's like wetter underneath than it is. Yay, thank you. It's more wet underneath than it is on top. It'll crack like mud in a desert, right? So just dry it very gently in the back of the flame. Awesome, I love this. You can see the steam escaping, you see it? And you'll see it change colors. I'm also warming up my mandrel because hot glass will not stick to a cold mandrel. So here is my glass. As you remember, I'm going to introduce it to the flame. I hold my mandrel in my non-dominant hand, left for me. I heat my glass with my dominant hand, and you can see this mandrel is rolling back and forth. I totally forgot to do the lesson about ergonomics. We'll do that in a minute. And I'm rotating both the mandrel and the glass. The glass I rotate because the flame's directional, and if I just park it, I'm only heating one side. See that? It's cold on the back. So it goes faster if you're rotating. And the mandrel I rotate because it's good habit, because later when there's a bead on there, I want it to be heated all the way around, not just on one side. So my gather's starting to gather. You can see the color of the heat, it's nice and molten. And it's almost big enough for me to go ahead. I think I'm about ready. That would make a small bead. If you're too soupy, give it a second to chill and get a skin, you know? You have a minute. Watch where I am in the flame. I'm going to reposition my rod with the glass on it from pointing towards my hand to pointing towards the mandrel. I'm at a 90-degree angle. I'm going to, it's hard to talk and do this, reach through the flame. I think my mandrel got cold. I'm reheating everything. Okay. Touch the mandrel, come to this point in the flame. See how the rod of glass, I have to accommodate for that lump. The rod is kind of feeding, but the mandrel itself was sort of underneath.
It like sucked back onto the...
Yes, it did. It wants to be round. It wants to be a sphere because it's acting like a liquid. So I've got this very lumpy thing. I'm going to do this a few more times because it's very hard for me to talk and revisit a skill. But you'll get a sense. So I'm giving it some good heat and I'm rotating, and you'll see that gravity is going to help me get that balanced.
Now it's like squash here. Oh my god! She's so cute.
So it's all about heat control. Use the heat as a tool. And I'm letting it chill a little bit. I'm gonna put another bead right next to it. You don't have to do this. I want you to just do one at a time at first. But I'm going to keep this warm, make a second bead next to it, try to make it better. You ready? Let's see if I can do better for you guys this time. Watch where I am in the flame, just below it sometimes. Reposition, point the rod up your nose. Kiss the rod, roll that glass. That's better. That's what I wanted to show you. Trail off in the flame. See that? If you've done this just right, with just the right amount of heat, you can do it so that it needs no polishing later. Now, it's super duper 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 hot, right? I've got to, and this one is cold. I'm only paying attention to the end one. I'm gonna let it start to come back to regular color. Now is when I'm gonna put it in my vermiculite gently. Let's talk about the vermiculite real quick. What is that about? It is not rocks. It's a soil supplement. It is also, it's a great insulator, and it is used for, hi, sorry, I'm just gonna talk and you have to watch. I'm still recording. It's an insulator, and so if that bead cools down really quickly, just in air temperature, it goes from 1600 degrees to like 80 degrees very fast. And that's so fast that all of the crazy hot molecules in the glass don't have a chance to realign themselves in a way that makes sense, and it's prone to breaking. It will break. By slowing down the cooling phase, damn it, stop, okay. By slowing that cooling down, everything has a chance to get realigned, right? Glass doesn't have a crystalline structure, and the slower you cool it, the more stable it is thermally. And so think of the vermiculite, which is like the kitty litter looking stuff for those of you at home, as a sleeping bag. And you're on Globe Trek, and you get all in your sleeping bag, and you're all cozy and warm and toasty, and then you have to pee. And the second you start moving arms and legs, the cold air gets sucked into your sleeping bag and you're frozen, right? And so once you put your bead in the vermiculite, leave it in its sleeping bag and let it come all the way to room temperature. So no peeking and no sliding around to make more room, because you're letting all that good heat get away. All right. And that needs to stay in there for a bead the size that I just did, with a very simple formula, you know, no crazy introductions or mixes or anything like that. I could probably get away with looking at that in 20 minutes.
That's it?
Yeah. Now, the bigger the bead, the more complicated the structure of it in terms of the glasses. Like Addison's going to want to cool that for a long time. Just let it be till tomorrow. Let it bead. Which is why they're color coded, so I can take them out before the next class in my afternoon. Yeah, now we see. Okay. I need to talk about ergonomics with the mandrels real quick. I'm sorry I forgot that step, but you need to know this before we move on. So let me get my camera back.